Hello, everyone, and welcome to the After Church Tea Time. Today we delayed a bit because we had some connectivity issues that we are healing through, but that's okay. We're still here and we can begin now. So today's Sunday service was really good for me. It was very much stuff that I've been healing, and I'm sure every one of us has been healing for a while now, because on this journey, we need to learn how we're going to prioritize. And it's very much revolutionary that we should prioritize God and ourselves instead of things that we've been taught to prioritize, such as maybe our job or even family. So today I am joined by Fabian and Kanisha. Thank you for joining me. And I would like to hear from you what you thought of today's Sunday service.
Yeah, really, like you said, I'm healing around the same exact thing of really getting clear on what priorities look like as this journey unfolds. For me, growing up, God was not a priority. That was not something I was taught. And so to have to transition into that was quite uncomfortable for me at first, to really understand the truth behind why it's important to put our Creator first. And as I started to heal my upsets with God and allow myself to go to Him first instead of what I was taught, which was like go to friends or go to family, they would give back like feedback, but not the feedback that my heart and soul was desiring. And when I would go to God, God would communicate to me either through a class or through my coach or someone within the community that really helped me see the core upset and how to actually heal it. And as I did that, I realized the importance of how crucial it was that I was going to God for everything. And even as simple as like, what do I eat today? Or how do I dress today? I was learning how to really just go to God for everything. I find that when I don't do that, there is kind of that feeling that starts to arise of that feeling of separation. I know that that's an illusion, but you feel kind of that dissonance within your body, within your consciousness. And so it's allowed me to really start to refine what that looks like, and to recognize that when things start to feel just kind of off or chaotic or contrastic, is because somewhere I'm not going to God first or putting God first. And when I make a new choice there, things start to just align right back up and be in that flow.
Beautiful. I love what you shared about going to God first, because that was my experience too. I was never taught how to do that pretty much. And it's all about go to your friends for advice, but many times your friends don't really know what to tell you because they haven't mastered the lesson that you are trying to learn. So the guidance isn't the best, even though they're trying. So going to God has pretty much resolved all my problems, I would say, because God always knows the next step. There's nothing God doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question come up here, because what is if, God tells me to love myself right now? But isn't this also part of the divine order in step number 2? God first, and then it's me, and then my twin flame, and then everyone else. But what is if they are the same?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I've noticed this in my journey as well, that sometimes it looks like it's the same. I think that has to do also with prioritizing, in the sense that sometimes it looks like, okay, should I go hang out with my twin flame, or should I just sit here and love myself because I'm upset first? And some people might say, okay, I'll go hang out with my twin flame, even though I'm upset because my twin flame is first or whatever, but that doesn't feel good. It feels better to just lights went out for a bit. Yeah, first I need to love myself. First I need to feel peaceful. That's my priority, because I come first, and then I can go hang out with my twin flame because he's not going anywhere. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think what Fabian is touching on is like, when God asks you to love yourself, that is you loving God, because there is no separation there. And same with your twin flame. I remember Shaleia posting that for a while, she always like kind of had this guilt that she just loved her twin flame so much. And she felt that somehow she was putting her twin flame before God. But then she realized that if she is God loves within her and she is one with God, then that also means that her twin flame, of course, is one with God, and her loving her twin flame is her loving God. And so there is absolutely, like, what that really means is there's absolutely no separation there. I do find that that's something within my consciousness that I'm still working through, where sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and the first thing that comes to my mind is my twin flame. And then all of a sudden there's like guilt that follows behind that. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, my first thought should be God. But God's like, there is no separation, just love in that space. And really allow yourself to receive the love that you have there for your twin flame. It's also the same love you have for yourself. I think that's what Fabian was touching on, if I'm clear there. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's all one beautiful love.
Well, that has to do with not being attached to what it looks like to love God, because sometimes loving God looks like loving a friend, loving your neighbor, loving your parents or children. It doesn't just necessarily look like praying or meditating 10 hours a day.
I also like that, if you have a desire and you go to God, hey God, what should I do now? And the desire is to have a banana, as the example was, that, well, the next step is to, build a whole factory, or do this other thing first, talk to your grandma or something like that, So it doesn't make sense on the surface, but there's a deeper plan at hand, and yeah, it's safe to trust God there.
Yeah, I find that when
Fabian, I think we get a bit of feedback from you.
there we go. Yeah, I find that when I ask God for like my next step, I recognize this week. One of the things that I said to God was like, I desire a deeper closeness with my twin flame, like in the physical. I would like to be closer to him and spend more time with him. And my mind went to, okay, like God will create a moment where we get to like come together and spend time together. But instead, the next step was, okay, you have to look at this intimacy block that you have here that came up not only in my session with my coach, but came up in sessions with my clients. And so God's like, this is the next step in order to be able to have that closeness in your physical world with your twin flame, is you have to heal this block here. And as I did that, I recognized why it would be not so compassionate and a little bit uncomfortable to have that closeness with my twin flame if I hadn't healed this upset quite yet, because there would be just kind of that that block there in the middle of not feeling like, why, okay, I can be close to my twin flame physically, but inwardly I'm not feeling it for whatever reason, and it's because that's the block. And so you can ask for things and it may not be directly what you think it's going to be. It might just be the next piece for God that's giving you to heal it. And as you do that, then it's going to be able to unfold and flow into what it is that you truly desire. But it's important that we are paying attention to what the next stepping stone is. And even if you miss it, I have a lot of clients who freak out about this sometimes. They're like, well, what if I miss it? What if I don't see it? It's like God is going to show you in every area of your life until you heal the upset. And so you can just relax and trust the process. You can trust that God's always going to lead you perfectly. And whatever you ask for, you will receive. That is his promise to you. It's just being able to really love yourself in that space in order to receive it. You can ask for everything that you want, but if you're not ready to receive it, that's where like self-sabotage comes in and all of those things. So it's really important that you're taking the next step to heal the core of it. That way you can truly receive what it is that you asked for.
I love that example. And sometimes the next step can not even make sense logically, because your next step, it sounds like it makes sense. Like if you don't feel the intimacy block, how can you attract your twin flame? But sometimes it can look completely different. Like in my case, I remember I was thinking, okay, oh, I need to do this thing so as to increase my abundance, for example. I need to work harder. But God instead was like, no, you just need to go to the kitchen, make some tea, listen to some music, dance a bit. And that was it for me. Like the lesson was to enjoy, not to worry about it. And it didn't even make sense because the world will say, oh, you need to take this step to get that result. But God works very differently because with God, you're building something eternal. So of course it looks very different than, okay, temporarily raise my energy and I bargain some of my life force for that reward.
It's very good. Then we can release the to-do list, and we can just chillax and feel really into what feels good to do, and then do that. And then it's going to reveal the next steps step by step. And then we are going to reach the goal eventually. Then we are going to get the banana, right?
Yeah, the to-do list is a big one. Because sometimes our to-do list looks very different than God's to-do list. Because our list could be, okay, let's run all those errands, do those things, and get everything done by that time. And God is like, no, you just maybe need to relax a bit. Maybe you need to go on a walk instead of working on all those things. And you'll still find the time in your day to finish whatever tasks you need to finish. That's something I've noticed because I sometimes freak out like, oh, where will I find the time for all this? But God always finds the time. It's crazy.
I had this actually a lot when I was like, oh my God, I don't have time to do this here. And I really feel an upset in me. But I need to do this project. So what do? Well, enough first, right? And then I do the mirror exercise and I return to peace. And I miraculously finish the project very fast, much faster than with the upset, Yeah, so it's safe to trust God there.
I've experienced that too, actually, because like someone might see those tasks and be like, oh, this will take some time. Like, oh, I need to edit like 2 videos, write all these captions for social media posts, stuff like that. And everything just happened like in 10 minutes. And I edited that video in like super quick because I just resolved the upset first. And then I went to God and God was like, okay, you can do this very, because then you flow with peace instead of working through the upset while you're doing the task. And when you're in an upset and you're trying to do something, there's always so much resistance because you can't really connect to God there.
It takes 3 hours, the same thing that takes 10 hours in peace,
Yeah, it's that divine flow of letting God move through you instead of you trying to control the situation. I've noticed that too with doing like YouTube videos where I would think I would need to like set aside 2 hours to like get this all done and taken care of. And I realized that throughout the week, I would just ask God, like, what is it that you want me to share in my YouTube video? Like, what is it that the consciousness needs, instead of trying to figure it out on my own? And he would give me the answer. And then when it would be time to do the video, if I tried to do it from a place of upset or just like feeling like I just need to get it done, then it seemed like I would have to start over or something in the background would happen or whatever it was. But yeah, as soon as I would heal the upset, I could easily put out 2 videos within like 20 minutes. And I'd be like, wow, that was really quick. And everything that came out was such a flow. And that felt, you have that energy come to you too. It doesn't feel like you're actually exerting any energy to do these tasks because God's flowing through you. And so it's a really beautiful way to just deepen that partnership with God. And I found it's a way that I've learned how to trust God deeper as well, is by experiencing these kinds of things of, oh, like God's really got my back here. And I really don't have to take from myself in order to give in this place. Like God gives me all of the energy that I need in order to be able to give in this space.
Yeah, that's something really cool that I've noticed. And I think it's also in Life Purpose class. I think the title of the class is God Mode Activate or something like that, where it's all about like getting your energy from God to fulfill your tasks. You don't have to take from yourself to do that. And I've noticed that too. There's so much flow and stuff doesn't happen where you would be distracted because you are with God in that moment and you're putting God first. I feel like there's something else I wanted to share, but I forgot it now. It's okay, I'll remember it. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, it's I think for me, one of the things that I had to really learn was not to like live a double life. This is something that I had to really start to look at, where I'd be like, okay, like I'll be with God in this place where I'm doing my inner work and I'm doing my classes and stuff. And then I would go out into the like real world, and it's almost not like I forgot God, but it was like I forgot that God was with me and that I could depend on God in these spaces as well. So it was really having to make the choice to live one life with God and not like separate them in any type of way. So I do, for me, I work a job outside of the home where I would just try to like bust out my work, and then I would come home and do inner work, so I'd be exhausted. But I realized that it was really important for me to be doing the mirror exercise and feeling through my feelings throughout my day. And so there will be times where I'll take a break and I'll close my eyes, and my coworkers are like, oh, like she's having her quite like she's having to like, I tell them exactly what I'm doing. I share the mirror exercise with everyone. So I'm like, I'm mirroring, I'm moving through an upset right now. Like, just give me a few minutes, I'll move through it and come to a place of peace. And so they have given me the space to like honor myself in that way. And that way I don't have to wait till I get home or like keep it a secret. Like, I'm moving through an upset. It's like, to be vulnerable and that authentic in my workspace allows my coworkers to do the same. And I'm really loving how I have people starting to align with me in the space of wanting to heal, wanting to learn what the mirror exercise is about, wanting to learn what twin flames is about. That's really the whole purpose of this work, is sharing it so that everyone can have it. And that requires us to be really like open and honest and authentic about what we are experiencing and moving through, and then sharing it with our brothers and sisters.
Beautiful. Because a lot of times we connect working outside of the home with something that is not very nice, and oh my God, I need to be at work. But then again, like, do the fun stuff after work, the double life thing you mentioned, right? So it's really nice that you're bringing union in that. Like, work can be fun because you're working through your feelings and it feels light and easy. And I think I saw Fabian unmute, so.
I was just curious how your coworkers reacted to you sharing about that, Kanisha. Because a lot of people, ooh, I'm not sure if I can talk about the spiritual stuff, you know?
Yeah. I think once I realized like that it was only me that made it feel like it's just like this weird thing, and recognize that it's just my way of life, and I wasn't responsible how they received me or how they received what I shared. They actually received it really easily, to where one was very open, like, could you teach me what that looks like what's the mirror exercise? She's like, because I feel like I'm in chaos all the time and you seem like you're in peace all the time. So like, it's actually very attractive to everyone, especially your twin flame, but it is attractive to everyone when they desire that in their heart, to have peace. And so yeah, they actually find it really cool. I'm learning, I was told this like probably 4 or 5 years ago, when we started talking about twin flames, and for a lot of us it was this woo-woo thing and it was not mainstream. And my coach Chrissy was like, in like 5 to 10 years, twin flames is going to be a total mainstream thing. Like, it's not going to be a woo-woo thing anymore. And we're going on 5 years now, and I'm pretty sure it was just in people's magazines. So like, she was very right. And so it's like, we were, in a sense, I feel like we were hand selected by God to like share this with the world. And it's really important that we show up in that space. And again, it's really important that we also release attachment to how they receive us. If they're asking for it, we just share it authentically. And if they don't receive it right away, that's okay. We've planted a seed, and then we let God do the rest.
We could even win new clients this way, you know, or new friends, or closer relationships by being yourself in that way. But yeah, twin flames are definitely going viral and mainstream with like Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. You know, it's like the next level thing.
It's very interesting actually to see people talk about it so publicly, because I do remember the time when it felt like this secret thing where people might think you're crazy if you share about it, because it can be intense for many of us to enter this journey, because it's like, whoa, what's going on here? And I was actually sharing about this the other day on the Twin Flames Universe podcast, about how it even felt weird to share about this with my twin flame. Share that, hey, we might be twin flames. How do you feel about that? Because it felt like such a big thing to me. But then I realized that I was making it a big thing. I was overcomplicating it instead of just letting it be simple, and not feeling responsible for how others receive it. Even with my twin flame, like, I'm not responsible for how he reacts.
Yeah, I just moved through this with my twin flame this last month. Anytime I was guided by a coach to like share with whoever I was exploring that I thought we were twin flames, inwardly there was always just like this wall of like, ugh, I can't do that. That doesn't feel right. And then with Eliud, as I was feeling into it, it was just natural for me to know that that was the next step, was to share it with him. And as we had the conversation, there was a part of me that was a little nervous, and he could feel it. He was like, what's going on? And so I just told him, like, I believe that you're my twin flame and I would like to explore this with you. And he was just like, okay. And I was just like, what? Like I was prepared for like pushback and like all, and he was like, all right, like, yeah, let's do that. And so I realized, yeah, once I made the choice within, of course, your twin flame is going to mirror that back to you. But it's having to come from it from a place of peace, and not like wanting something from that other person, not wanting acceptance or approval or validation, already giving that to yourself, and then freely and authentically sharing that and allowing yourself to just love in that space so that you can receive that love back. But yeah, I was having to trust that, like, if I was feeling guided to share something with someone, it's God. God's asking me to share, and he's trying to move through me, and I can either listen or not. And I've done that before too, where I've been at, even I've, like Fabian said, you get friends and new clients that don't directly come from the open form. I have a client currently where I was just sharing myself authentically and the things that I had been moving through. And then a day later, she had texted me and she was like, hey, there's some things that you said last night that really resonated with me, and I would really love to work with you. Are you taking clients? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so it's just allowing yourself to be who you are. And then God is going to bring the people that align with you and that are ready to heal and ready to really learn what unconditional love is and ready to come to him. And really, you're just kind of the vessel that God moves through. And so it's having to release attachment to what that all looks like and just trust the process.
It's a really good thing to share, because not only if you are an Ascension coach, but with any job, right? A lot of people struggle with financial blocks and blocks to abundance. And what you shared is key. It's just being yourself. And of course, you're going to work and do your best. But at the end of the day, being yourself, sharing yourself, that is very important, because that makes you magnetic. And there's also the element of trusting God to bring you the right people when you need them. It's not going to be just you in the middle of the ocean, just trying to swim back to the shore, because God has got you.
I watched a class today on authenticity, and a student shared about a big problem at pain, you know, and then Jeff was like, well, your problem is authenticity related, vulnerability. And by being vulnerable, you actually move through that pain. You know, like being willing to be honest, even if it is uncomfortable or it's seemingly inappropriate.
And that's really what's going to help you, like you said, move through the pain. That's something that I had really taken from the book, Twin Flames Find Your Ultimate Lover, where Jeff had said that he was going to be completely honest with Shaleia, whether it was something she wanted to hear or not. He was going to speak his truth. And that is a choice that I had chosen to make within myself and with my twin flame union. And as we've done that, we've had some really uncomfortable conversations, but we've both made the choice to be completely honest with one another. And as we've done that, we've been able to move through what it seemed to be uncomfortable and would be hard for anyone who doesn't have this work to feel like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to go in that space. That feels really bad. But once we did and really moved through it, we both just felt closer to one another. We both felt like, wow, I can really truly be vulnerable with this person, and they're going to see me and receive me and love me really no matter what I say. It may not always be easy to hear some of the things that come up, but there's you're deepening that level of trust, and that level of just being able to know that we both had come to the realization like, oh, there is nothing that neither one of us, like, that we can't work through together. There's no upset that is big enough for us to be able to work through together if we're just completely honest with each other in this space and we allow each other to move through that. So yeah, it's important that you establish that, and as you do that, it becomes easier to just share yourself. I found even recently this month, like I'm sharing more things on my social media where before I'd be kind of hesitant, like, oh, I don't know what my family or what the rest of society on my social media would think. But I'm at this point now where I'm like, no, if it resonates with my soul, I'm sharing it. If I desire to share that with the world, I'm going to. Like, again, releasing attachment to what other people think or feel. And a lot of people get upset, like, I just don't want to trigger them. And I remember Chrissy telling me, like, okay, so you don't want to love them? Like, that's what happens when you trigger someone, is you're unconditionally loving them because you're showing them a part of themselves that desires love in that space too. And when you come from it at that space, it really allows you to just be who you are. And if you're open to it, help them move through the upset. just be who you are and allow God to just do the rest, like I've said.
A really good point. And I feel like practicing honesty with yourself and with others is also a great way to prioritize God, because God is putting your truth in your heart for a purpose, and the purpose is to share with each other. That's how we grow. Imagine if Jeff and Shaleia never shared the truth about twin flames with us. It would be very, very different, the world, than it is today. And that's why it's so important to share with others, because that's how we all heal as the one child of God. And yeah, it's okay to trigger people, and of course, like a lot of us don't do it intentionally, and some people like don't like to be pushed. But sometimes you do that because that's God's plan, you know. The person has to become aware of the upset to heal it first. So it's still safe and it's still okay to share whatever is in your heart, and also to go to those uncomfortable places even within yourself, because these are places that are asking for God, and they're uncomfortable because they're not receiving God. Maybe there's a belief there, separation. So by going there and being honest and being vulnerable with yourself, that's how you receive more God.
You can ask yourself, where is it that I am not being honest? Where am I putting up a veneer of politeness? And, you know, then you can receive the answers there from God, and allow yourself to express freely whatever that is, and receive more connection as a result. Yeah, I think we moved through some connectivity issues in the beginning here, and we are now arriving on the other side of it, right? Because we are moving through the feeling, through the process.
Yeah, and that's the process, right? You have the upset, which was the connectivity, and now we're talking about like intimacy blocks, about sharing your truth. So we're healing it, and then we're sharing the healing. It's a very good way to see it in action. Because I had to move through a lot of feelings when like Zoom was acting up today. It was like, oh, we need to be in time and all that, and what's going on, and what is it happening? But yeah, it's fine. Just showing some.
This double verification thing, you know.
Yeah.
Safety first, though.
And the other thing that's coming up for me here, the piece is like how truly easy it is to connect with God, how truly easy it is to connect with your twin flame within. I think a lot of people think that unless their twin flame is in their physical space, then they're not connecting with their twin flame. But it's always going to be an inwardly job. And as you choose to go within every time to connect with your feelings, to connect with love, like it's always going to be inwardly. I think that's a really important thing, is because people try to like go outside of themselves to get what they want first. But again, back to the divine order is going to be going within first and giving yourself what you need first in order to receive that in your outer reality.
That is a big lesson I think we're learning in the community now, because I've heard from others this week that they've been moving through feelings like security specifically, and giving yourself that feeling of security and knowing that your true security is with God. It's not on the outside. You don't receive what you want from the outside. You receive it by being with God and by giving this thing to yourself first, and then it's going to manifest. Also, something cool I've noticed is that it's easy to connect with God. And when you first connect with God, it's easy to connect with God's children. There's a lot of us, before even coming to the community, maybe we struggle to connect with others a bit, how to start a conversation. But now, for example, Kanisha and I have never spoken with each other before, I think, but it's very easy to connect now, even though it's the first time, because there's God at the center. We both connect to God, and that's how the conversation flows. So yeah, that's something very interesting, because God is in all of us.
I just have funny remarks today. Like, what, you have not met before? Since the first time we talk?
First time.
We have a big community by now, I guess. Right. Twin Flames going mainstream.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people I've never spoken to before, and it never ceases to surprise me and amaze me how easy it is to connect. Because there is this foundation that we all have of being in this work and putting God first. It feels much easier than trying to find something in common with someone else, and like, yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't think I recognize that, because I've seen you in other things and I've heard you speak in videos, and so like in my heart, in my mind, like I knew you. I already like knew who you were. I felt like I had already had a connection with you, and I learned that yesterday too with connecting with the Instagram team. I have a new team member on there, and she was like, I watched all of your videos. Like I was like, oh, like I've already connected to this person before actually physically connecting to this person. And so just seeing how God works is it's I don't know, so abundant. And sometimes you don't even realize like the connections that you're making without having to physically meet someone yet. But like once I met her, I had felt like, man, I feel like I've known you forever. And you're right, it's because God is at the center of it. And so it makes it easy to work in a community like this. If we choose God at the center, things just start to flow instead of trying to work separately and separate from God. It really allows us to meet in that oneness and meet in love with God.
It's a beautiful way to put it.
When I was at school, I always tried to be with the cool people, you know. And then as I shared that in class with Jeff and Shaleia, they told me, oh, they were actually not the cool people, you know. And this really opened my eyes to what is considered cool out there may not actually be that cool. Twin flames are cool, right? Inner work is cool. Facing your fears is cool. That's really cool.
I agree. There's a lot of redefining to be done in terms of what is and what isn't cool, because a lot of us connect coolness with something that is on the outside, like the cool kid in the movies. They smoke a lot of cigarettes and they're very sassy, but yeah, I agree that facing your fears and working through things and being grounded in love and God, that is what is actually cool about someone, because they're so full of life and like they see and feel their divinity, and that radiates.
I'm thinking of a strangest thing. What is it? Strangest things character. There's this guy in his car with super loud rock music, and like, you know, this is like more like the old cool, not the new cool. Yeah, putting everyone below him, and you know, everything superficial in a way.
It will be very nice to see the shift in mainstream media also, because I assume that movies and books and stuff are going to catch up with this, and we're going to see characters portrayed in a different way. That will be nice.
And it comes back to why it's so important that we authentically share ourselves in this work, and not having fear behind it. I think that's been, when we really sit with it. I had a couple who asked me, he was like, "What's twin flames?" And I was like, and I explained it, and then he like looked at his wife and he's like, "So us?" And she was like, "Yeah, pretty much." And so I was like, "See, you recognize that within your union, that they are a couple who chooses God at the core of their foundation. It's very important for them." She's very clear that like anytime we don't go to God for something, things go left. And she's like, and when we do choose God at the core, like we just meet in the space that no one else meets me in. And I was like, there you go. You completely understand that in your heart. Yeah, so I think we make it kind of just like this big deal in our mind, but if we come from a place from our heart space and really just authentically just share love in that space, they will connect there if they resonate in that space. And if they don't, that's okay. Like eventually, again, we've planted the seed and now God can work in that space.
Exactly. And all we can do is just do our part and leave the rest to God. We're not responsible for anyone else.
Exactly. And Jeff has talked about this before. Like, it's not your job to convince your twin flame that you're twin flames. It's your job to love yourself in that space and know the truth. And if they're truly your twin flame and they share the same subconscious mind, like that's going to come into their consciousness and they're going to start to see that themselves and feel it. And so we don't have to ever try to convince anyone of anything. We just speak our truth and surrender the rest.
Power is quiet, right? It is silence. Like God, you need to pay attention to him in order to hear him, to perceive him. It's all powerful, but you need to attune to it.
Feeling pretty complete with the conversation. How do you feel? Fabian?
Yeah, I feel this well. Thank you.
Good. All right. So we can wrap this up then. Thank you so much for joining me today for this After Church Tea Time. And thank you everybody else for watching. And we will see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.